What exactly happens when the testing approach is inefficient and you miss major bugs? Hello everyone, in our today's video we are going to talk about planning our testing activities and preserving it in a document so we can get proper test guidelines. Okay, so now let us move on to the test plan. So I'm going to display you the test plan template which I have prepared for the X internet banking project, and I'm going to explain you the steps or the items required in writing the test plan, and I will explain them where you need clarification. Okay, so at first let's start. So initially we have the title of the test plan. This is the test plan for X internet banking project, and then we have the project overview where we write that this is an internet banking application where the main purpose will be the customers will make transactions based on their daily needs. Okay, so then in case of the test plan details, we are mentioning that name of the project is X Internet Banking, and we, for example, we have also mentioned that the name of our test manager is John Doe. Similarly, we will define our testing team, the members who are in the testing team. For example, I have written my name first, Farhan Nasser, and then I wrote Bob Smith, Carly Jane, for example. And in case of the features, we are writing in scope features and out of scope features. So let me first explain in scope features. In case of in scope features, we are considering the features which we are delivering in our current phase. For example, I am delivering the registration and the login feature in phase 1. That is, we are already working for its development. We will finish testing those and we will deliver them before. But we made an agreement with with X Bank that we will deliver the fund transfer and the mobile recharge features later. So in this case, my current scope item for testing will be registration and login. That is why I wrote in the in scope features registration and login, and in the out of scope features I am writing fund transfer and mobile recharge, as I am going to deliver them in my next iteration or in my next phase. Okay, so now let's talk about scheduling timelines. Scheduling timelines is very important, as you will provide your plan to the project manager, who will then understand how much time is required for the QA process, that is for the test execution. So the testing phase is divided in many uh, actions. For example, we need to plan the testing, that is the test planning which we are doing right now. Then we will design the test cases and designing test case template and writing them. We will ensure that the test environment is properly set up. After that, we will execute the written test cases, and then we will provide time to the developers to incorporate our feedbacks, that is for defect resolution, and then we will confirmation test finally after the feedbacks are incorporated, and then we will close testing. So initially I have provided 1 day for test planning. Then I have provided 9, 10, 11, 12, or 4 days for test case design and writing. Similarly, this way I have divided the items, and finally I have estimated the closing date to be 27 December, that is testing will be closed. Okay, so in case of milestones, there are few milestones to achieve for the testing team. Number one will be the test case, the test plan sign off. The test plan will be approved and acknowledged by both the project manager and the client, and there will be test case review. In case of test case review, the test case will be reviewed by both from the QA team, that is a particular tester might write the test cases for a particular feature, so they can internally review it between themselves, that is peer review. And despite that, the project manager or the technical lead can also go through the test cases and review that if some new items are added by the client, if those needs to be incorporated or not. Then in the milestone, there is also the first test execution cycle complete. So in the first test execution cycle complete, we will let the team know that it has been completed, and we will prepare a report and we will submit the report to the project manager. Now it's time to define the test objectives. So in case of objectives, we have both primary objectives and secondary objectives. The primary objectives will be functional testing. Functional testing means to ensure that the feature is functional. For example, it is going to the next page as required. For example, in registration feature, when I input the input fields which are required to go to the next page, I will check if the user is being taken to the next page. And in case of invalid information, the user should be blocked from going to the next page or proceeding to the next page of the registration phase. So this will have to be make sure in functional testing. In case of performance testing, I will test that if multiple users, for example, let's say 100 users are doing registration at the same time, does it impact the system, does it impact the network, what is the actual scenario, and how will it impact the user experience. I will have to test that. In case of usability testing, I will test from the perspective of the end user in such a way that I will consider that I do not have any domain knowledge of the product or internet banking, but as a first time user who is listening to those terminologies for the first time, who is using the application for the first time, who is using the internet banking application for the first time, how would they feel, how is the system prepared well enough to tackle that. In case of secondary objectives, we have compatibility testing and regression testing. Compatibility testing refers that it is working fine in both platforms. For example, in case of applications, we have two platforms, Android and iOS. So I have to check that if the Android and iOS platforms both are working properly when the application is run. Okay, now let's define the test deliverables. So before testing, we have to deliver the test plan document, the written test cases, and we have to collect the test data properly from the client or the uh, software developer with whom we have dependencies. We will let know the project manager of our dependencies, and he will finally clear it and share with us the test data. Okay, so during testing, we need to keep the execution logs, the test cases which have been executed, which have passed, which have failed. We have to prepare proper defect report and submit it to the project manager for good bug tracking. Then we have to share daily, weekly, or status reports as designated by the company and expectations. Then after testing, we have to share the final test report, as I have mentioned earlier. So in case of test strategy, we have to think of strategies which already has been defined in the objective section, but I'm mentioning that in case of functional testing, we normally use both manual testing and automation testing. Automation testing is mostly used in case of regression testing, where we are executing the same test cases again and again. So to reduce the repetition, we normally write test scripts and automate it using automation tools. For example, Selenium APM. To test mobile applications, we normally use APM. Okay. Now, in case of performance testing, we have other tools to test the performance testing. For example, load testing and stress testing. So I will share those details in my other videos. Okay. So in case of usability testing, we will test based on the user perspective. We will let know of our feedbacks. Again, we can also assign some users or register some users as testers, so they can know of their feedbacks. For example, this is mostly called alpha testing and beta testing. We collect their perspective from them and their feedbacks, and we try to incorporate them to make the system foolproof. Okay, so in case of test environment setup, I have to make sure that the test environment is properly set up, otherwise the testing will be hampered. And in case of test data preparation, I have to make sure that I am getting valid response or valid expectations from the valid data, and in case of invalid data, I have to expect valid error messages so that the customer will know where something is going wrong, what is the issue, and the message should be user contextual. This is very important from a customer's point of view or the end product user's point of view. So this needs to be checked thoroughly. One of the basic limitations we face in the software industry when we test a feature or a module without a proper test plan is that we do not know the impact areas where the data change might impact the dependent features, or which features need to be tested or executed before testing the next feature. There are some dependencies between the features, or there are some variables which are dependent and need to be executed sequentially. So these limitations can be addressed if we write a proper test plan while acquiring the solution knowledge or the domain knowledge after the requirements are confirmed by the client. So what we have to do is we have to attend the sprint planning meetings properly, we have to attend the grooming meetings properly, where we can ask questions about the end-to-end journey of the feature, and there we will learn about the logical dependencies associated with a feature or the variables that need to be addressed sequentially, and finally we can identify which testing activities needs to be performed before or after. We can identify the test scope properly. So it is a prescribed rule that we should write our test plan after the grooming meetings are done properly and we are finally confirmed of the requirements from the PM, project manager, and the technical lead. After that, we will write the test plan. Based on the test plan, we will define the test approach, we will define the test scenarios, and we will write the test cases. So this is the ideal scenario. If we follow this, then we can ensure that no major bugs are missed, and we can ensure maximum quality of the product delivery. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and let me know any feedbacks you have on this video. The test plan document will be shared in the description below, and I will see you all again in my next video. Thank you.